Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive insights, and wisdom, and we go as guided. And action-packed as always, it's just those times. We're just going to get used to it. And at the top of the hour, just remember to like, follow, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the show, and your support is so meaningful. So welcome, Kiki. So let's jump in as we begin with all of these energies. There's so much to cover. So double sixes, conflict, let go. We are doubling down on letting go of the conflict. It's decay, repairing what's spoiled. Small restraint, surrender. It's taking each step. And this return, going back to where we began. Welcome, Alicia, but an octave higher. And so we have beautiful energies, powerful energies, the astrological influences. Now, this is just, and we have what, three movies? The solstice is coming up. So, three movies, or two movies, no, three: Les Miserables, The Sound of Music, and Jaws. And it's Les Miserables, The Sound of Music, and The Solstice coming up on June 20th, 21st, depending on where you are in the world. Uniting, coming together, working to overcome Jaws. So when we looked at the astrological influences, and you'll see why, they said Jaws. The net is widening hyphen tightening. And this is really from the solstice chart. The sun enters Cancer, which denotes the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. And we have this, Mercury was conjunct Jupiter, that big bang at the end of Gemini at that anaretic degree. Mercury enters Cancer at 0. Jupiter enters Cancer. And remember, Mercury was escorting Jupiter into Cancer, the divine feminine energy, the home and hearth and everything, all 0 degrees. The full moon in Sagittarius was at 20 degrees. And then Mars enters Virgo. That just happened yesterday on the 17th. And upcoming on the 20th, 21st is the summer solstice, or the solstice. Sun enters Cancer. So Jaws, the net is widening, tightening. Now, Jaws is a movie from 1975, and it's when a massive killer shark unleashes chaos on a beach community off Long Island. It's up to a local sheriff, a marine biologist, and an old seafarer to hunt the beast down. Well, let's look at why. Let's look at the astrological chart for the summer solstice. And that was the first thing. You see how wide the net, the opening is in the center. They're widening the net. But in widening it, it's like what they're showing me, the unseen is showing me, is that there are companies now where they have these massively wide nets that troll the ocean and everything, and they catch all of the pollution, all of the trash. So there's this Jaws effect. And remember, last week was Pac-Man, connecting the dots and how Pac-Man eating the dots. And this week is about Jaws. And so there's this sense of widening and tightening the net to bring all of this refuse, trash, to collect it, to remove it. And so big, and you'll see how, again, Les Miserables, The Sound of Music, and The Solstice are collaborating, conspiring, working together, Jaws, to remove the I'm searching for the right word. It's the predator. That's the word I wanted. The predator. So let's look at our main theme. The Great Awakening. A quantum leap forward. And this was a great awakening exclamation point. This is where we are. All of this is going to culminate. All of these energies. So as we look, the Great Awakening, a quantum leap forward. This is as painful as what we're witnessing on the world stage and we're literally dealing with. and which is forcing us to deal with it in our own lives. It's forcing us to face ourselves. It's forcing us to look at the decay, to look at the shadow, to look at the things from the previous era, Piscean, patriarchal, 2000-ish years, and take the best of the best, but look at the worst of the worst so that we know what not to bring forward, what we don't want to be, and what we do want to be, and that we focus on what we want as the weight of everything, because it's our third quote, and this is really the overall arching message here is a seed of prosperity is often hidden inside the husk of misfortune. This is from hexagram 12 at tarot.com. So a seed of prosperity is often hidden inside the husk of misfortune. So one could say that we are bearing witness to great monumental misfortune. However, contained within it is the seeds of prosperity. And it's number one from the unseen. And they gave me this last week, just after last week's show. I began the new show for this week today. And the unseen said, contained within the future is the past and vice versa. And then the words construction, deconstruction. So simultaneously, and this is true of everything, contained within the ending is the beginning. Contained in the future, within the future, is the past and vice versa. This construction, deconstruction. That it's a cyclical wheel. It's the circle. It's eternity. And so it's to recognize that in the construction is the deconstruction. And this goes to hexagram 51, which is thunder, shock, and awe, and so forth, which is we're going to deal with this. And you'll see how that that came this week, and these exact words are contained in that hexagram. So let's move to, we're going to jump into, I want to start off with Chani Nicholas. This is from the astrologer Chani Nicholas, The Weekly. It's issue number 71. And what she's talking about, the phrase peaceful rebellion came. So again, these energies, we're going to be looking at the summer solstice energies. We're looking at and let me just bring this chart back up really quickly. Multiple squares are going on. Squares are confrontational, they're frictional, meant to release energy. You have one between Mars and Uranus, and then you have the ones between Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune. And the sun is conjunct together with Jupiter. Jupiter amplifies, this is the great benefit. So it amplifies and magnifies and everything. Here's the sun, the life force at that 29th anaretic degree. So mega powerful change, revolution, rebellion, all of this stuff, and then Mars, Uranus. So keep all of this in mind as we're working with. So this is from Chani Nicholas, The Weekly, issue number 71. And I'm titling this Peaceful Rebellion. She says, calling all strategists, this is the week. After 9 long months, Mars finally breaks out of its Cancer Leo retrograde infinity loop and enters Virgo's nerdy queendom. Getting tactical and brushing up on the fine print of your rights aren't just encouraged, they're mandatory. So where in our individual lives, doesn't matter what the backdrop, the scenario, the situation, the experience, getting tactical and brushing up on the fine print of your rights aren't just encouraged, they're mandatory. This is brand new momentum. As Juneteenth reminds us midweek, which is coming up on tomorrow, Thursday, it's as important to celebrate and study the legacies of Black freedom fighters as it is to remember that we are still in the struggle for emancipation, freedom, liberation, equity, equality, harmony. Because it's followed up by the solstice, so the Juneteenth is followed up by the solstice, an energizing moment in the wheel of the year, we know change is afoot. Fighting for our rights is not a one and done thing. It's a do it every day or lose it in every way kind of practice. It's a very powerful mantra statement, truth. Fighting for our rights is not a one and done thing. It's a do it every day or lose it in every way kind of practice. It's a meet you on the streets with protest signs and hearts on sleeves kind of vibe. It's a we either double down, double sixes, letting go of the conflict, overcoming the conflict. We either double down together or backslide into oblivion. It's cancer season, and there is only one choice. So see you out there. So no matter what it is, whether it's this more global aspect going on, or where in our individual lives are we needing to brush up on the fine print about our rights and stand up for ourselves, it's now. The time is now. The momentum is now. And this is peaceful rebellion. Rebellion is number 3 from the unseen. They said rebellion and instability. And then I started hearing the lyrics to the song. This is where the sound of music comes in. So long, farewell. Avita say goodnight to you and you and you and you and you. But it's cuckoo. What I heard was rebellion and instability. Cuckoo, cuckoo. It's in the song. And so, and of course, with the sound of music, this is from Utah Shakespeare Festival. When a young novitiate named Maria proves too spirited for convent life in 1930s Austria, she is sent by her abbess to serve as a governess to 7 children of a widowed naval officer, Captain George von Trapp. Her love of music and her charisma liven up the strict home, and the children come to adore her. Captain von Trapp feels differently at first, but soon Maria captures his heart too. So Maria then realizes convent life may not be her path. She and George fall in love and marry. Following their honeymoon, they return home to find that their beloved Austria has been invaded by the Nazis, who demand that the captain immediately serve in their navy. Here's the key phrase: refusing to concede. The family and their closest friends create a plan to escape to safety through the mountains and into Switzerland. The beauty of the movie and the sound of music is this refusing to concede. It is about love and harmony and bringing joy back into life and everything. However, its overarching message is against the backdrop of Nazis invading Austria. It's the family's refusal, Captain von Trapp's refusal to succumb, to concede, to participate, to go along with such horrid atrocities. This is true today. Kiki is saying, I'm finally feeling the shift. Welcome, Colleen. So bear these, and we'll get to Les Miserables, bear these in mind. What are the morals of the story that are embedded in these movies? So in this, rebellion and instability, cuckoo, cuckoo, and I'll post the song, So Long, Farewell. We're saying so long, farewell to the past, to the Piscean patriarchal era, to all of this mayhem and really oppressive, suppressive, patriarchal shadow energies. They're rearing their head, they're loud, but we're saying so long, farewell, because we're not interested. The future, they don't belong in the future. They're incongruent with the future. So let's now move to North Point Journal. And this is Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. We're just setting the overtone, so we all get an understanding of, because this is a great awakening. It's saying, the unseen is saying to us, I'm just bringing up our main image again, the great awakening, a quantum leap forward. This is about literally transcending the previous era, truly leaping, quantum leaping forward. This isn't about, little baby steps. All the major outer planets are changing signs. This is it's like in the tarot, when you get major arcana cards in the tarot, it's fated, it's destiny, it's big. This isn't the minor arcana. This isn't little steps, little changes, little this is all big change. Monumental. This is what we're speaking to. It's a great awakening, the great awakening, a quantum leap forward. Pam Youngin's North Point Journal, Gaining Clarity. Over the next few days, we continue to feel the effects of the stressful Mars-Uranus square and the longer-term Jupiter-Saturn square, both exact on June 15th. This was a few days ago, and thus may observe more manifestations of their challenging energies. Before long, however, the tension of these two aspects will gradually ease, leaving us with a greater sense of freedom in our choices. Even though all squares represent friction, they also have positive potentials. The rebellious and impulsive Mars-Uranus square is seeking to liberate us from old ego-based reactivity and patterns of resistance. It's old ego mind personality, human, welcome Elizabeth, patriarchal, ego-based patterns and reactive-based resistance and so forth. The conflictive Jupiter-Saturn square is providing a reality check, helping us gain clarity on what we believe in, what we are willing to take a stand for, peaceful rebellion, and what actions best represent us. It's Channy Nicholas about getting into the details to defend ourselves, stand up for what is right and true. Pam Youngins continues, a change of seasons. The sun enters Cancer this Friday, June 20th at 7:42. 7 is the foundation, the fulfillment of God's word. 42 is associated, it's the God square. It's associated with ancient Egypt. We covered this in some shows ago. It had to do with, um, oh, it'll come back to me, but weighing the heart against the feather and so forth, this whole thing. This ingress marks the solstice, when the sun is at its northernmost point in the sky and appears to stand still before starting its annual journey southward. It reminds us to align with the cycles of nature, to honor wherever we are on our spiritual journey. It's about knowing where we are. You're never lost, you're always somewhere. All you have to do is say, where am I? And your soul, the unseen, your soul source connection will answer you. And it will reveal truth, because your soul is always true north. So it's going to tell you, are you cockeyed? Are you cuckoo? You need to let go of something. So long, farewell. It's going to tell you where you are. And Pam continues, and to celebrate our source of both inner and outer light. A chart drawn for the birth time of the solstice, which is this chart right here, here it is, gives us clues as to our experience of the next 3 months. The June 2025 solstice chart is a powerful one, with the Sun conjunct Jupiter and its sextile, that's harmonious, to Mars, but also square Saturn and Neptune. There's all these squares, there are harmonious aspects. It gave me joy. That chart gave me joy, gave me hope. Optimism, risk-taking, and enthusiasm are supported by the Jupiter and Mars aspects. At the same time, the Saturn and Neptune squares keep us from moving too far, too fast, and too unconsciously. These squares remind us to always remain aware of the significance of the times we are moving through, both physically and spiritually, both individually and collectively. So this is having our sea legs. It's having a firm foundation. It's recognizing where we are in the moment. Where am I? And then bringing those forth so that we operate, we make conscious choices, conscious steps, conscious actions, or inaction, as the case may be. What's called for individually, collectively. And I want to bring in, because we have two this week, keywords. And so I want to go to the first one. And this was, I loved this, and it coincides with number 4. So the image is of a purple wave, this major, massive ocean wave. Rebellion. the action or process of a resisting authority, control, or convention, opposition to one in authority or dominance, an uprising, an effort by many people to rise up and challenge those in power, usually on a large scale, an open and avowed renunciation of the authority, an act or state of armed resistance. And it's to remember your silence, your voice, civil disobedience, all of these things can be peaceful rebellion. Rebellion, when magnified, amplified, speaks volumes. This purple wave, it's number 4 from the unseen, which means it's foundational. And they said purple wave, the union of forces. And you will see how union, it harks back to, and we're gonna reference it about um, the Civil War of the United States back in 1860 something, 63, in that realm era. But they're saying the purple wave, the union of forces. So the union forces, but the union of forces. And then they said red and blue coming together. So the Great Awakening, a quantum leap forward. Uranus, Mars and Uranus, this rebellion and instability. Cuckoo, so long, farewell. Time to, Avita, say goodnight. It's and a purple wave, the union of forces, red and blue coming together. And then our second key word that came was overcoming. So we have rebellion and overcoming. Overcoming, succeed in dealing with a problem or difficulty, defeat an opponent, prevail. To succeed in dealing with or controlling a problem that has been preventing you from achieving something. To get the better of in a struggle or conflict, conquer, defeat, achieve victory. And that's exactly, they said overcoming, and then they said victory. And it's overcoming obstacles, overcoming hate, overcoming fear, overcoming oppression, overcoming suppression. So there's this purple wave, so rebellion, this purple wave, the union of forces, red and blue coming together, and then victory. So, because again, hidden within the husk, often hidden, a seed of prosperity is often hidden inside the husk of misfortune. So we're going through the air quotes misfortune part. However, everything's purposeful. It may be hideous, it may be, uncomfortable, and it can create great stress. However, there's a purple wave. There's the Great Awakening. There's a quantum leap forward. There are the union of forces, red and blue coming together, this overcoming that brings about this peaceful rebellion that brings about victory. So now let's move into, we're going to go to hexagram 51. And this is from Carrie Hone at cafeausoul.com. Hexagram 51 is shocking. It's 51, arouse. That's its action. It's to awaken us, to arouse us. Its hidden influence is obstruction, innovate. So that's that conflict, let go. It's to innovate, meaning how do we eliminate or move around the obstacles, remove them. And its underlining cause is penetration, permeate. It's to permeate, to make this lasting, to permeate. It's our first quote, which is, the gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials. This is a quote by Confucius. So the gem can't be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's really where we come to recognize our choices, our participation in everything that we're experiencing. It's all of our collective, individual and collective choices. Kiki is saying hideous describes the politics lately. Exactly. However, again, it's crescendoing so loudly because, again, this purple wave. And they were talking about, because number 2 from the unseen, to this point. We've reached a tipping point. They said a tipping point has been reached and exceeded. Hang on. And then the words avalanche, tsunami, successive crescent waves. It's the image, these waves, it's the image for rebellion, the keyword rebellion. These successive purple waves, crescent waves, that are going to bring about, and they have brought about, this tipping point. It's been reached, it's been exceeded. And then they said avalanche, tsunami, successive crescent waves. So all of this is conspiring, and then here's thunder. Here's hexagram 51, thunder, and it's to arouse. So again, Carrie Hone at cafeosol.com. When children ride roller coasters, they discover that allowing fear to have expression is energizing. If only we could always remain joyous in approaching our fears as we move along our dusty road. Unfortunately, we grow complacent and seek security and stasis. Anything in nature that becomes stagnant will be re-energized by the unexpected. Shock brings success. We're being shocked into the great awakening, this awareness, this arousal that says, what do we want? What do we stand for? What is the world we wish to live in? Whether hurricanes balance ocean temperatures or tumultuous autumn and spring storms invigorate new growth, nobody can hide from nature's power to keep all things thriving. The shocking can symbolize the unexpected things that generate emotion and wake us up. They said some shows back, that the unseen, they're shaking us to the roots, and it was the mandrakes from the Harry Potter. We're being uprooted. It's uncomfortable. It's shocking. It's arousing our awareness, but because we're being transplanted into a larger vessel, larger pot, larger opportunity. This quantum leap forward. So. The shocking can symbolize the unexpected things that generate emotion and wake us up. It can symbolize the fear of intimacy that is suddenly awakened as stirrings of unexpected love. It can represent changes you didn't ask for, but are good for you. The underlying cause of penetration showed a period of rest and concession. That's kind of like where we've been. This is this period of rest and concession pre a decade ago. So go 10, 12 years back. All that time period before, it's like rest and concession. But now it's a time to stir things up. The hidden influence of obstruction is always a call to innovate. Feelings can be rising that are quite unfamiliar but refreshingly new. What worked in the past will no longer do. The two words most associated with shock, hexagram 51, is uh-oh. I love that. Uh-oh. However, it should be viewed in the same laughing sentiment as children riding a roller coaster. Something is coming that is unexpected, but is meant to awaken you to how you hide. See, it's meant to awaken us to face our truth, our choices, our individual and collective choices. We got where we are today. Our choices, got us where we are. Which means we, individually and collectively, our choices can move us, advance us, innovate, remove the obstruction. Les Mis, The Sound of Music, The Solstice can collaborate, conspire. We, the people, can unify and make choices to say, we choose this, not that, to advance us. So the past will no longer do. Each day, we witness the mutability of nature and fail to recognize it in our own life. No matter the event, the pace may quicken, and you may suddenly find your heart racing and a smile on your face. The arousing means movement that disengages you from complacency. Shock brings success. Like a clap of thunder, sudden and spontaneous events ensue where you will observe how, and this is our second quote, how that which goes against the way comes to an early end. It's so powerful. That which goes against the way comes to an early end because it's incongruent with the way. Nature, the unseen, the all that is the host, is the master weaver. So that which goes against the way comes to an early end. The shock terrifies for 100 miles, although one does not let fall the sacrificial spoon and chalice. The sacrificial spoon and chalice carry the idea of the well and cauldron as the utensils used for transformation. The well is we the people, and the cauldron is the nourishment. It's how we nourish ourselves. When you are stuck in a transformational process, shocking events come to release you from stagnation. But do not forget that you hold the key and the power to transform. You hold the power. We hold the power. It is within us, not outside of us. And it does not belong to someone else. It belongs to us. The master said, and this is where the number one from the unseen last week literally coincides with hexagram 51. The master said, everything is in destruction. Everything is in construction. Number one from the unseen, contained within the future is the past and vice versa. Construction, deconstruction. This is called tranquility in disturbance. Tranquility in disturbance means perfection. Wisdom comes in knowing that whatever takes form is necessary. Everything's purposeful. The shock terrifies and fear brings good fortune. In the land of authenticity, fear is aroused from slumber so that it can be transformed into great power. A quantum leap forward. We always talk about fear. Everything is energy. Fear is energy. Harness the energy of fear to transcend, to catapult you forward, us forward, because the opposite is that it immobilizes us. We don't want to be immobilized. We want to advance, transcend, catapult, quantum leap forward. So in the land of authenticity, being true to ourselves, fear is aroused from slumber so that it can be transformed into a greater power, the freedom to move. Understanding the necessity of what transpires, fear and trembling give way to tranquility and faith in the way. Like in the way, air quotes. Elizabeth is saying, I keep having to remind myself that I have never been here before. That's it, that it's all new, and to stop comparing it to past experiences and trust. Exactly. Where we're going, where we are and where we're going, we've never been. There's a reason we use the car analogy all the time. We have side mirrors and a rear view mirror. They're much smaller. They're purposeful. We utilize them to navigate, but we have a massive, huge window screen in front of us because it's about where we are and where we're going, not where we've been, but we utilize where we've been. We harness that wisdom as a reference. But what's important, to Elizabeth's point, what's important is to remember, I haven't been here before. This is new. Astrology, it's cyclical. It's not identical. We haven't been here. So while things may conspire or return, they're not identical. They're cyclical, but not identical. So it is to harness this power of shock, of thunder, of shock and awe, of fear. But fear, to harness fear, to catapult us forward, to advance us, not to immobilize us. Do not allow fear to immobilize you. Then it wins. It self-consumes. However, when we say, love is energy, fear is energy, hope is energy, everything is energy, I am energy. Let me harness this fear I have of something to transcend, catapult me forward. That brings about a great awakening. The unseen here is talking about the great awakening. This is a universal, the great awakening, a quantum leap forward. So now we're going to move to Astrology by Lauren. and she is speaking about thunder repeated, the Mars, Uranus, and the Jupiter squares. All of this frictional energy, astrological frictional energy. It's purposeful, it's there, it's creating this friction so that we will face it, deal with it, innovate, remove the obstructions to advance. Thunder repeated, the image of shock. Thus, in fear and trembling, the superior human, the superior man, sets their life in order and examines themselves. This is from the I Ching, Hexagram 51, Astrology by Lauren. So it's about, thus, in fear and trembling, the superior human individual sets their life in order and examines themselves. See, we take stock of where we are. Where am I? We look inward so that our choices and our actions guide us in forward in a way that's for something, for what we want. Hexagram 51 of the I Ching is of thunder doubled, spreading shock for miles around. But the hexagram is not just about the shock it witnesses. It is also a call for action. And so it also goes for the current Mars-Uranus square, which finally perfects on June 15th. It just perfected, coinciding with the squares from Jupiter to Saturn and Neptune. It's not just a full week astrologically, it's also a pivotal week. As above, so below. So all of the, you don't have to understand astrology to understand that major outer planets are shifting. They are aspecting one another. In this instance, there are squares going on. Squares are frictional aspects to advance, to release, to face something and release it. As above, so below. Astrology by Lauren, she continues. What we usually expect from Mars Uranus is that feeling of a powder keg just waiting to explode. It seeds impulsive, erratic behaviors. There is a quickness to it, which is also erratic, unexpected, and triggering. It can also be angry, explosive, and shocking. We're seeing the world events taking place. And so, we are seeing Mars-Uranus in action demonstrated this past week with the chaotic attacks of ice agents invading what used to be safe havens, workspaces, sylvan fields in which workers toiled. They were quickly inciting rage, which brought the people to the streets, circling the wagons, protecting their own, and protesting against the federal government, which had commandeered the California National Guard with the permission of the governor. It's important to state in this moment. In the United States, take immigration. There are laws in every country. There are needs in every country. There are opportunities in every country. We as a people, as a country, in this example, it doesn't have to be done this way. Purple wave, red and blue coming together in the example of the United States. One could easily come together and discern and create an immigration policy that respects and benefits the needs of all. Are you perennial? Are you annual or seasonal? Is there, you come here and you do these works and you pay into the system and pay taxes and so forth, and after so much time, you are afforded citizenship. There's many different ways that this can be done where human life, humans, are respected. Law is respected. The needs of the people, all people, are met. It doesn't have to be the way it's being done. Continuing with Astrology by Lauren. Mars in Leo square Uranus is bound to be fiery, fierce, and fast-moving. It can also be a catalyst and a call for action in extraordinary times, which these are both astrologically and socially. Astrologically, because we have not witnessed in our lifetimes all the outer planets changing signs at once. We've talked about this within a 14, 16-month window from late 2024 to early 2026. All 5 major outer planets change signs. It's like the major arcana. It's fated. It's destiny. And think about this. I mean, Jupiter, I believe its orbit is 84 years around. It takes 84 years. Pluto takes 246 years, I believe. I mean, we're talking about now, imagine that all of these outer planets, the synchronicity, the timing for them all to shift signs within a 14-month window, it takes a long period of time for that to occur. So it means it's major. It's not one of them changing, it's all five of them changing within a short window. So it's huge astrologically because we haven't witnessed this in our lifetimes. One after the other, changing the social and political climate while challenging our ideals and our beliefs. This is where we're getting into Les Miserables. Here it comes. So, Astrology by Lauren. In 1776, when Pluto last entered the sign of Aquarius, the American people rose up against a mad king. And remember, Pluto has not been in Aquarius since the French, American, and Industrial Revolutions, 240 some years ago. So, and the people rose up in America, the people rose up against a mad king. In response to unfair tariffs, people in Boston tossed barrels of tea off the docks in Boston Harbor. When Pluto is in Aquarius, the power is not leveraged from the top. Not from a monarchy, not from an oligarch. When Pluto is in Aquarius, as it is once again, the power falls into the hands of the people. All the people. And so, after Pluto last entered Aquarius, the existing Federation of States declared itself a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people, not for a mad king or mad kings. So it seems so timely that we have these no kings protests rippling across the landscape of the United States. Pluto in Aquarius, Astrology by Lauren says, is trying to do its work. I would offer Pluto in Aquarius is doing its work. It is awakening, thunder, shock and awe. It's arousing us. It's cyclical, so it's reminding us of our past. This isn't just for the United States. This is for the world. Anytime something, we're one. It's one massive tapestry. So when we do something to the web, it affects us all. So we can receive or learn that which is happening in Ukraine or something. We learn, we receive. We can have empathy and emotion and understanding, and it affects us. We don't have to literally be there, and vice versa. Astrology Bellerin, she continues, in 1861, when Neptune last entered the sign of Aries, that's where it is now, the existing states were fractured by a growing divide and unrest between states that relied on a slaveholder's economy and a growing abolitionist movement. States seceded because of this, and thus a civil war erupted, a war that eventually led to the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. What this proclamation in 1863 made clear was that this was not just a war about preserving the Union. It was a war about freeing an enslaved group of people. It was about advancing. It was about a higher ideal, Neptune, a higher that we are all free, we are all equal. And thus, it wasn't just about preserving a union, it was about freeing an enslaved group of people. This war, this was a war of ideals, Neptune, and the courage to stand up and fight, Aries, for those ideals. And so we are being asked at this time, in this nation, the United States, but I would say collectively across the globe, what are you willing to stand up and fight for? In essence, what do we want? What do you want? Do you want a world? Do you want an individual life of opportunity and liberty and freedom and self-governance and empowerment? It is who we are. We are whole and sovereign. We are divine beings. We hold the power. What do we individually and collectively want? Astrology by Lauren. Together, these were rippling the firmament throughout the world. as ideals clash and powers weave in and out. Mars-Uranus transits can serve as inflection points that feed on any frustration and unrest that has been building over time. Mars-Uranus is the match and the powder keg ready to explode. This brings about Les Miserables. And Les Miserables is a renowned French historical novel by Victor Hugo published in 1862 and also a widely acclaimed musical adaptation. The story, set in 19th century France, explores themes of social injustice, love, redemption, and the human spirit. Victor Hugo's novel delves into the social and political climate of 19th century France, French-American industrial revolutions, highlighting the plight of the poor and oppressed. We're seeing this playing out right now. The social and political climate highlighting the plight of the poor and the oppressed. The story explores themes of justice, redemption, love, sacrifice, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It wasn't the king or the monarchy of the time that held the power. It was the people. Once the people were aroused, were awakened, they realized we don't need to be poor, oppressed, suppressed. We are entitled to live with dignity, grace, honor, opportunity. And lastly, the narrative unfolds against the backdrop of 19th century France, the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, including, because you can't make this up, the June Rebellion of 1832. This June Rebellion, peaceful rebellion. There's a rebellion. Welcome, Olivia. So, moving back to Astrology by Lauren, at the time of her writing this, the White House has taken control of the California National Guard and is now sending in the Marines. Actions that are considered unlawful here in this United States, where you are not allowed to use the military to attack your own people, especially when those people are exercising their constitutional right to assemble, protest, rally, and advocate for policy changes. Uranus scoffs at laws. It turns its back on tradition, because Uranus is expect the unexpected, thunder, shock and awe, hexagram 51. It wants to advance us. And thus, we have been witnessing thunder repeated, the image of Mars square Uranus in the United States of America. Because when we go against the higher ideals, Neptune, or when a government or a leader goes against, a king goes against these higher ideals of liberty and freedom and justice and equality and opportunity, the people rise up and rebel. They say, no more, cuckoo, so long, farewell, Avita, say goodbye to you and you and you and you and you. Not having it. Uranus is in its very last degrees of Taurus, about to enter Gemini in July. This is a placement that does not bode well for the United States and carries its own element of disruption in its wake. Deconstruction, construction. These are all historical placements for the outer planets and can have a tremendous influence over the shifts of power rippling throughout the world. This week, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, will perfect its squares to Saturn and then Neptune in the Mars sign of Aries. See the connection to the Mars-Uranus square? Because they're aspecting, they're triggering them. Jupiter makes things larger, and in Cancer, a fertile sign of potential, the tension that has been brewing within the Saturn-Neptune conjunction has a greater capacity to grow, to thrive, to expand. Because remember, Saturn is co-presenting with Neptune in Aries. Neptune is about higher ideals. Yes, it's about illusion and delusion, but it's also, remember, Saturn is that I'm uncomfortable until I'm not. So Neptune is co-presenting, walking with Saturn, to say this version, this higher ideal, this advance, this matriarchal Aquarian era. And then Saturn says, oh, I'm kind of reticent. I'm uncomfortable. Like we've talked about, like I'm starting a new job. I'm moving to a new place. I'm in a new relationship. There's all that, discomfort, if you will, trepidation, anxiety, whatever. It's all good. And then all of a sudden we hit the ground running. It's like, oh, okay, I've got my sea legs. See, I've got my foundation here. Alicia's saying it. Every time you say cuckoo, I think of a second meaning for it in the current US besides goodbye. Yes, well, there we have it. So here we have this where we've got this fertile tension and everything. And this conjunction of Saturn and Neptune has a greater capacity to grow, to thrive, and to expand. Astrology by Lauren. Aries, Cancer combinations are incited by the need to protect and defend the hearth and home, to protect the people, our own, our family, our community. Jupiter is greatly concerned with justice, with ethics and morality. And so, as it comes up against Saturn and Neptune in the martial sign of Aries, it aims to feed the throngs with a bit of righteous indignation. It's this peaceful rebellion. And that peaceful rebellion, it's a force to be reckoned with. It does not have to be um, angry, hostile, aggressive. Peaceful rebellion. We talked about this, that the people of India against the British Empire, that was peaceful rebellion. Hunger strikes, all these different things are powerful. We don't have to be, we're armed with something far greater. There may be obstruction, resistance, but ultimately the arc of destiny moves forward. Astrology by Lauren, she continues, this is the third Jupiter-Saturn square, but the first one when Saturn is in Aries and so closely conjunct Neptune. This has the capacity to spread exponentially. Jupiter square Neptune hears the cries of the people, and most importantly, responds to those cries. On June 15th, Jupiter makes its third and last square to Saturn in this current series of squares. The Jupiter-Saturn square is an aspect of contradiction. Jupiter says yes, Saturn says no, because Saturn's uncomfortable. It's just entered Aries, so it's got to get through its initial phase. Jupiter wants us to grow, to be free, to expand our horizons, while Saturn reminds us of our existing obligations, laws, rules, promises, and responsibilities. It holds us back out of reticence and fear of the unknown, or due to circumstances beyond our control. So there's a little bit of this push-pull going on, or this, I got to get comfortable with this. We're all learning. We're all facing the present future, the unknown. However, there's a purple wave. There's a peaceful rebellion, this instability, this union of forces. A tipping point has been reached and exceeded. Hang on. And this construction and deconstruction happening simultaneously. Contained within the future is the past and vice versa. However, it's the Great Awakening, a quantum leap forward, and this thunder, shock and awe, this arousal, so that we see plainly with clarity. No rose-colored glasses. We see the truth and we make decisions individually and collectively as to what we want. What is the world we wish to live in? What do we want our lives to be? It's number 5 from the unseen. This is about, they said, playing the long game. And then I instantly heard Long Island Medium. And I was like, huh? Like, I mean, I know who she is, I understand. But playing the long game. And they said, Long Island Medium. And then I said, oh, okay, got it. Messages from our ancestors. This is about, because this is all built on this long, playing the long game, ancestral lineage, this long, elongated time. This isn't something new. We didn't get here like, bink. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand at this moment based on everything that's come before us. This playing the long game, messages from the ancestors, goes to, and we'll come back to astrology by Lauren, but it goes to the Sabian symbol for Uranus. Here's Mars Uranus, these squares. A peacock parading on the terrace of an old castle, the personal display of inherited gifts. And what this speaks is this is a symbol about confirmation. This peacock symbol indeed confirms the social status of the owner of the ancestral estate. It's ancestral. It indicates a consummation of individual efforts, and it suggests that such a consummation is hardly possible except when a line of ancestors, biological or spiritual, forms its base. It's because we have ancestrally, accumulatively come to this point. It's fated, it's destiny, it's meant to be. And because we stand with our ancestors, we stand with every person. Imagine any from world wars, or the liberation, India and the Great Empire, um, Hitler, Nazism, World War II, Emancipation Proclamation, liberties and freedom, the Civil War of the United States, all of these things, the liberation from mad kings, the formation of the United, all of these are based on our ancestors. All of this cumulative presence, experience, culminating at this point, this moment in time. It's not about going backwards. It's not about reliving the past and where we've already been. It's advancing to the future. That was the Star Trek and the USS Enterprise. What's beyond where we've been? And our ability to do that, to harness that, is based because we stand on the shoulders of giants, of all that came before us, our ancestors. So we're playing the long game. And what are the messages from our ancestors? Be open, individually, collectively. Be open to how the unseen, whether it be a relative that's passed or the unseen angels, guides, however it may come, manifest, be open to messages from our ancestors. And while we're here, I just want to bring in the Sabian symbol for the IC in the solstice chart. A communist activist spreading his revolutionary ideals. The emotional and ideological attempt to return to a state of non-differentiation and chaos as a prelude to a new type of order. All of this is happening because it's a prelude to a new type of order. All the major planets are shifting, as above, so below. This symbol, beyond all present-day social, political controversy, represents the activity of destructive or catabolic forces. Deconstruction, construction, construction, deconstruction. One aspect of the Indian god Shiva, in answer to the type of confrontation suggested by the symbol for Leo 6. The old order, here's where it gets good. The old order is confronted by the youthful drive for a new way of life and a new sense of values. As the old order refuses to yield its prerogatives, this refusal polarizes violent revolutionary action because the old is over, but they don't want to give up the ghost. They don't want to give up power and control in their way of doing things. But there's a new way. There's a new order. It's upon us. It's here. We've hit the tipping point. It's been reached and exceeded. The revolutionary may have beautiful dreams of a classless society free from greed and harsh struggles for survival, but the first practical result of their activity almost inevitably appears as chaos. Yet chaos is a state of being that calls for a new descent of the power to reorganize and differentiate. It's going to change things. So it's this bringing, it's a descent of new power, the new era. Alas, such a descent most often is still based on old concepts, and one witnesses a struggle for personal and dictatorial power. That's what we're seeing. Personal power up against dictatorial power. This stage ideally could show how the vision of a cosmic order might heal the potential conflict between an obsolete establishment and its youthful challengers. But reality today presents a more cruel picture of catabolic action. So it's confrontational. It is thunder, shock and awe. It's Uranus, Mars squares. It's the Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune squares. It's all the major planets changing. It's catabolic. It's major. It's big. It's not little baby steps or tiny. It's major arcana, not minor arcana. You get the point. So going back to Astrology by Lauren, just to conclude. So it holds us back out of reticence. So Saturn will hold us back because it's trying to get comfortable. She says, and there are times when it may be more practical and realistic to not overextend ourselves, take on too much, or scatter our energy. But there are also times when it is necessary to move through our own fears, to grow, to thrive, to live our own best lives. On June 18th, that's today, Jupiter will perfect its square to Neptune, which encourages us to think big, perhaps even beyond our own expectations. This is about, see, this is where we want to exceed where we've been. We want to know and absolutely affirm our best days are ahead of us. Greater opportunity lies before us. So the very definition of Jupiter-Neptune transits are big dreams with big expectations, kind of like a massive parade in our honor on our birthday. But Jupiter-Neptune transits can also seed misguided delusions. So, see, we could have a national parade on the anniversary of an institution when it's for the people, for the country, something that the masses have pride in, or it can be seeded with misguided delusions when it's about a single individual. It can sometimes even feel as if we are wrapped in some ethereal garment of unrealistic notions, sometimes harmless, but when combined with all these other elements, can be potentially dangerous. Saturn says to tone it down, but Jupiter exaggerates the optimism to such an extent that we see what we want to see and ignore the rest. Saturn does not necessarily aim to shatter our illusions and dreams, but it does require us to reproach our hopes and dreams in a way that is practical and realistic. Practical and realistic means pushing, it can mean pushing boundaries. It doesn't mean being, succumbing to oppression and suppression and division and hate and so forth. No, it just says do what you're going, peaceful rebellion. Do so in a way that is responsible. Rise up in a way that is responsible. Advocate for yourselves in a way that is responsible. But don't fear advocating. Don't fear rising up. Don't fear rebelling. Just be in the right lane. Know that you have the truth with you, behind you. And dare to see things the way they are, not what we want them to be. So be willing to face the truth, see the truth. There are going to be things over which we have no control in our lives this year. It's a monumental year of change. But there are also some things over which we do have control, even if it is only our own perspective. If we cannot change external things in our lives, what are those things that we can change? But again, we don't know what we can change externally until we try, until we show up for ourselves, until we purple wave, the union of forces, come together. That creates overcoming. That creates victory. In Astrology by Lauren, she concludes with a quote from John Lewis, the 1963 March on Washington. I appeal to all of you to get into this great revolution that is sweeping this nation. Get in and stay in the streets of every city, every village, and hamlet of this nation until true freedom comes, until the revolution of 1776 is complete. Because that was liberation from tyranny, from a mad king. That was about liberty and justice for all. It was about harmony, optimism, prosperity. Anything's possible. That is the ideal, the beacon that is America. America, Columbia, America, that statue, the Statue of Liberty, it's all modeled on America, meaning the name, the female representation of that. Neptunian, the highest ideals of what humanity can achieve, what humanity is and can be. It's number 7 from the unseen. We've had this many times. Peace be with you. It's to know that the unseen, the divine family, God, Allah, Buddha, the all that is with us, is within us, and there is nothing that can prevent that from occurring, from, air quotes, being. And we conclude with number 8 from the unseen, which is big changes ahead. Both peace be with you and big changes ahead, 7 and 8. They had smiley faces. So this is foretelling a beautiful time. And this sums it all up. This is where we are. Here's the image. It's the devil. This is from Brigitte Ashwood of Luminous Tarot. It's the devil, 15. And you see how the devil has the hoof, if you will, holding down the divine, the human, the divine masculine, the divine feminine. We're moving out of this. This is where they want to keep us. Down, suppressed, oppressed, minimized, divided. However, we are leaving that. You move to the right side. This is, and notice that, so the devil is ruled by Saturn. So we have these squares that are challenging the status quo. We move to the right. It's the tower. The the tower card energy is ruled by Mars. It's the creative force. So look at the crescent waves, the purple wave, the crescent waves, that we've reached this tipping point. It has been reached and exceeded. And then look, notice at the top left, the crown, no kings. The crown is falling. The tower is on fire. People are jumping out of the tower. And by the way, that is number 6 from the unseen. It was plank. Walk the plank. The game is up. And then desertion. Abandoning ship. The rats are jumping ship. This is all the tower. We are in the tower moment. So where we've been is the devil energy. We're in the tower moment. It's Mars energy. And then the next image is we move from the tower to the star. The star is about wish fulfillment. The star is Aquarian energy. This is in our nativeness, our nakedness, our nudeness, who we are at our center. Aquarian energy, the star, divine, sovereign, whole. And we see all of this wish fulfillment. That's where we are. This is this era of where we're moving to and how everything comes into play. It's just big changes ahead. So in the moment, stay calm, stay centered, stay focused, and listen to your soul source connection, go as guided, and when the time calls, whether individually or collectively, peaceful rebellion, rise up, discern what you're for, discern what you want life to be, what do you want the world to be, and then have the courage, the calm and the courage to stand up for that, to choose it, to select it, to be for it. Because peace be with you. The unseen is with you. Cannot wait to see what happens next because, like I said, Big, big, big energy. So thank you all for being on this journey, for all of your comments, your likes, shares, subscribes, follows, all of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you next week.